Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Socratic Cinema. My name's Casey Clark.
I'm Hallie Phillips.
I'm Charlie Heatherly.
And I'm James Delicio.
And today we watched part 1 of Stranger Things Season 3. When I say part 1, that means episodes 1 through 4.
It was awesome, and I loved it. And I think Finn Wolfhard is hot, and my co-hosts don't agree, so I'm a little mad about that. But besides that, a fantastic season.
Oh yeah, season 3 was great. So great, that we decided to do a 2-parter. So stay tuned. Today we're going to talk about, like Casey said, episodes 1 through 4. And stay tuned for part 2. It's going to be bigger and better.
It's going to be incredible. I think we can get the self-promotion in the middle of it a little bit further in. But Stranger Things has been a great series since day one. And although Season 2 took a little bit of dip in quality, I think Season 3 revives that. And it's an incredibly good show still, and although it did deliver the same sort of nostalgic beats that it had done before, it did so in a new, fun way with the setting specifically. I really loved the Starcourt Mall, and I think everything they did there was incredibly on point. And although I didn't live during that time, I've heard it's very accurate to what the malls looked like. After all, I'm very young. And
the ripe old age of 16.
Small child, really. I have the soul of a 60-year-old trapped in a young, spry, 10-year-old. It's a strange combination.
Sorry.
The show has always been cinematically fantastic. They have great transitions. It became so much of a thing that the group I first watched it with, we just had a running joke where every scene transition we would say, wow, that's such a really, that's a really good transition. And it's because the filmmakers are so incredibly creative, and I think that goes into every aspect of the show, from the writing to the filmmaking to just the costume work and just everything they do. So I loved it. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love the Duffer Bros. They do such a good job on everything. They keep it really time period canonically correct within the time period. Yeah, wow.
Very good.
Wow!
You made it through the sentence.
Well, sorry guys, I'm still really tired. And it's definitely 2. It's fine. But yeah, they, as Charlie mentioned, they have amazing transitions. Just for an example, I think it was episode 2 or 3 where Dustin and Steve are looking for evil Russians, and you get the transition from the cameras from Jonathan's camera to Dustin's binoculars, and it's
that was really
hey,
cool.
what?
I remember that. That was awesome.
Nice.
It was so good.
Yeah, I've loved Stranger Things since season 1. I thought season 1 was really great. And I didn't love season 2 so much. It just felt a little bit. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me as much as season 1 did. Just didn't feel like this. It didn't feel like a proper continuation. I guess it could have been bigger and then better. But overall, still really solid. And then season 3. I'm pretty sure we're gonna give our thoughts on the second half, next time. But. I was a little scared for the first few episodes of season 3. I was getting season 2 vibes, and I was a little worried. I did not love, the first 2 episodes of this season. But then they turned it around once the plot started moving, and I had a really good time. Lots of, just a real big, climactic season. It's a lot more grand than anything they've ever tried before.
Yeah, that's why I actually liked the first couple episodes, because it really set up the whole, because I knew where it was going. It wasn't static.
Yeah.
I really, I got to appreciate it later, but I kind of liked the first episodes. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I just...
Because without them, I felt like it would have been too, pushed into it. It really helps with that grandeur.
Yeah. I appreciate the time they dedicated to setting the story up. I think a lot of it just came down to, I wasn't a big fan of the of sort of, the changed dynamic within the boys group, and just something about Hopper.
He was angry the entire season.
I just
he was so mad.
I didn't love Hopper in the first few. It just took me a while to get used to it, I guess, the new, because they are all older, and there's nothing you can do about that, and different.
I know, looking back at the first season, just the children, like, it's crazy to see how much they've grown.
Oh, yeah, they were such
like,
little
it's
baby boys.
they're tiny. They're small children. And then you look at this, and you're like, these are just full-grown people at this point. And it's such a strange transition. But, I don't know, as Sally was saying, I think they eased you into it well. I mean, the first episode is probably one of the funniest ones. Like, the part where they welcome Dustin back home, and then Dustin sprays what was it, hairspray into Lucas's face. I thought that was great. I thought the banter between Lucas and Max was really funny. How he's sort of the worst boyfriend ever. To be honest, I didn't love the relationship between Lucas and Max all too much.
Yeah, they didn't really put a ton of time into it anyways.
I don't think Max would realistically go for Lucas after all the stuff he pulls. Like, he's not that great of a boyfriend, really.
But I think as far as the team goes, like for like a most valuable player, I think Lucas is for sure the MVP of the 4 boys in this season. He's just so many times he just comes in and saves the day, right? There's not a ton I can talk about during this part. We'll get more into part 2. I think at the end of our scope for this episode, the sauna scene is the sauna with Billy is sort of where we're cutting this as far as what we're looking at today. But in the whole sauna fight with Billy, Lucas hits him with the wrist rocket, right? Like, it's like he just comes in with so many plays like that. Honestly, crazy cool. Oh yeah, we probably should have said it at the start, but please don't watch this if you haven't seen season 3.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert!
It would be worse if this was the second part, because there's not a ton to spoil here. But yeah. It's a little late. Maybe we can edit this clip back to the start of the video.
That's a lot of work. I don't know.
Yeah, please don't watch this if you haven't seen season 3.
Our dislike ratio just went like...
Yeah, man.
You ruined it, James.
It's
over.
It's tanking more than the Game of Thrones.
We're gonna have like 4 views and 5 dislikes. I'm calling it now.
We're that professional at what we do.
Oh yeah, our scope is huge.
I personally like Dustin the most out of all the boys this season.
Really?
Of course, he was awesome. Like Joe Keery and Dustin. I say Joe Keery because I forgot Steve and Dustin.
Steve the
hair. Yes. They are the best power couple that there is. Casey just hit her foot on the table we used to record.
You probably heard that too. It shook the whole mic.
Let's have a moment of silence. She's dead. She's out.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We just lost a podcast member. It's fine.
Man, it's going downhill.
Yeah, holding auditions for new members. You
Matthias, are you interested?
You have to be in high school. And you have to be really obnoxious, and you have to like movies. That just goes for all of us here.
Yeah. I actually hate movies. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I can't sleep.
This is a TV show, though. Oh.
Ooh.
We're talking about a TV show.
Crap. You're right. No, yeah, so it's a TV show. And what was I saying? Dustin. Yeah. I liked Dustin the most. I feel like he's funnier than Lucas, and I think the people he was paired up with more sort of brought out his charisma more than Lucas. Because Steve and, Erica, that's her name, because... Can't spell America without Erica. That's my favorite line ever. But his whole dynamic with them and his sort of childish, like, we're going to kill the commies, we're going to find them in America, and we're going to beat them is so endearing, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because screw communism.
Oh, I loved... Oh, yeah, totally.
You love communism, is that
secretly the whole time. I loved Steve and Dustin in season 2, and I think they're even better in this season. I think they're great. Robin, I thought, added a really nice dynamic. She was, I think, probably my favorite character this season. I really didn't like Erica. I don't know why. Little small sassy kid characters I never like. That trope, the small... smart, sassy child trope never lands with me.
See, I was that child, so that's why I...
Oh, yeah.
I feel...
I don't know. I just didn't... She just kind of annoyed me more than anything, but it's a very small nitpick in the grand scheme of a really solid season, you know, so I can get over it. You know? It's not gonna break it for me.
But can you say that those scenes would have been better without her in them?
I don't think they would have been worse. I'll put it that way.
You can't spell America without
No,
Erica.
exactly.
And right now it's like you're burning the flag.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I've had enough.
Texas versus Johnson.
Jeez, nice law reference.
Yeah.
See
That
how
was
many
good.
of our 4 viewers get
Yeah.
that.
All right, come on. I'm counting on you 4.
Yeah.
But as far as the other plot, you know, we sort of talked about the B plot group, but as far as like the main Hawkins gang, I really loved the interactions between Will, Mike, and Lucas. I thought they had really good like quippy interplay, sort of like the first season had. And it made me sad because Dustin wasn't a part of that.
Well, that in it had conflict. Like,
Yeah.
because Will is sort of still trying to hold on to this, like, oh, we should play D&D, we should be friends. And then the other two are like, no, we have girlfriends. No, we need to sort that out. Personally, I really connect to the issue of trying to balance friends and other people in your life together in this sort of race against time. But, like, it was a very fun thing that I think they handled very well and very realistically.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're still all friends and they still all love each other. And the only thing I didn't like too much was, as I said, Max and Lucas's relationship. Because I just don't feel like that would have worked out.
It feels very forced in the writing. Like, they
Yeah.
wanted to make it happen, but they didn't have enough material to...
Yeah, they
with it.
They could have afforded to give them a few more scenes, and that's something I wanted to talk about a little bit later about as far as juggling plots and things go. But yeah, I loved the 3 boys and the whole. I loved those 3 boys and the whole conflict between
Don't take
like
that out of context.
girlfriend versus friend. I felt so bad for Will. Will
I know!
was
Yeah.
that was
He was double third wheeling.
just a very that was really I feel like the stuff they did with Will was real poignant.
Okay, also, just a quick thing about Will. Do you guys think that he was confirmed as gay this season?
That was an
Listen,
interesting. I don't
yes,
know.
Because when he said, I know, like, it's not my fault that you don't like girls.
Yeah.
You know,
And I was
'cause
like,
you could take that as like
dang.
you could take that as Mike. I mean, the way Mike delivered it and kind of apologized. I feel like I don't know because you could take it as Will's gay, or you could take it as Mike's just bullying him because he doesn't have a girlfriend yet. Like maybe he's. I don't know.
But Will did say that he wasn't really attracted to girls all that much. I mean, like, I think it was the first episode he was talking to his mom, and he's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna fall in love with."
Yeah,
with one of
it's up in the air for me. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he was, and it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't.
That's fair.
But either way,
He's a nerd.
yeah, he's great. I love him, D&D boy. He's great.
They finally
He's
gave
so
him something to
pure.
do. They gave
Yeah.
him the power.
Oh, that was awesome.
They did his
Having
Spidey sense.
like he was as much. I mean, I'm so glad you got to see Will be an actual character this season,
Yes.
rather than the plot device. Like season 1, he's lost. Season 2, he is possessed. Right.
Yeah.
This season, he finally just gets to be a kid, you know, and a
Yeah.
character. Well, I don't know if I can talk about that yet, actually. But I think it was interesting seeing how, because he's not as seasoned with adventuring like the other boys
That's
are, I
good,
thought
yeah.
that was really cool how you can sort of see that he's a little bit more uncomfortable with it all. Like, he's not taking direct action so much, because he has not been the adventurer so much as, like, the victim of the adventure. You
And
know,
he's
in the past.
traumatized. Like,
yeah,
oh,
all the
oh.
time.
Yeah.
I don't know how he functions after what he went through.
I don't know how any of them, they kind of swept it under the rug. I guess.
He has to have PTSD or something.
Yeah.
I would after that. Like,
Yeah.
geez.
That's the thing that I really liked about season 2 that I didn't get at. Well, there was a good amount of it in season 3, but that's what I've liked about these subsequent seasons is that they aren't afraid to show you the aftermath and like how it affects them. Like Bob's death, you see how it's affecting Joyce in season 3 and all that. I just wish they gave us more of how is this affecting the town as a whole. Like, how are people dealing with, like, how covered up are the events of previous seasons? Like, is it public knowledge that there was a big monster hunt? Or is it, like,
Good point.
under wraps? I just kind of want to know a little bit more about how is Hawkins as a whole after the events of seasons 1 and 2. That's...
They touch on that a tiny bit when they sort of bring in the whole town into the struggle of the Starcourt Mall. But even with that, it's over a surface level issue instead of the Russians are here or
Yeah.
the aliens are invading.
I guess I mean more like do people know that
Yeah.
Is it public knowledge that there are monsters here, or is it just like no one knows except for the main crew and they're just kind of hush-hush about it? They might have answered that and I could have missed it in like season 2 or something, but I just wish they gave a little bit more into that. I liked the political subplot with the mayor. That was cool.
I liked his makeup job at the end of...
yeah.
Wait, I can't talk about that.
Did you guys know that he was Wesley from Princess
No!
Bride?
I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wesley.
listen, I knew it
You're joking.
because
just
when he
destroyed
came on,
the mic.
Yeah.
because when he came on screen, I was like, "That's Wesley." And so in my head, I didn't look it up, but in my head, I was calling him Wesley the entire time. And like, yes, James.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was definitely picked up. Robin is Uma Thurman's daughter.
What?
Yeah.
Uma Thurman has actually.
And like before I knew that, I did not I would have never guessed. But after hearing that Robin is Uma Thurman's daughter,
She does
They
look
look
like a
similar.
young
instantly
Uma
started
Thurman.
seeing the resemblance.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. There are a lot of like big actors and children of big actors. I mean, yeah, we have Uma Thurman's daughter, the guy who played Wesley, I don't know his name, and Winona Ryder. Like,
Yeah, it's super
I
big.
continually forget.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
she's
in the
like-
shit.
Yeah.
She's Winona Ryder.
Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings.
My boy, Samwise.
was in season 2. It's crazy how they have this blend of like smaller, previously unknown actors, like pretty much all of the kids.
Now the kids are massive and
Now the
what
kids
they
are
do.
huge.
Especially Finn Wolfhard.
They're
and
the biggest
No.
child
and
celebrities.
And
Oh,
Millie,
that's
definitely.
I think
No,
Millie's
that's
probably
true.
more.
Millie, yeah, because she was in.
Finn Wolfhard wasn't it though, and that's pretty like.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh,
That's
wasn't Millie
true.
Bobby Brown was in King of the
God-
Monsters?
Yeah, she was in the Godzilla.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
movie sucked. So
Oh, I never got to see it.
It was bad.
I
I
thought
knew
it
it
looked.
was gonna be bad.
Yeah, I
it
just wanted to.
was it was about 55% concrete on screen at any
Dang.
given moment.
I was
so-
really looking forward to seeing some cool. I loved like Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Amazing. Not the second one.
Dang,
Well, where are we?
doing my good job
So,
on
okay,
that.
wait. Do you know what that reminds me of? Guillermo del Toro is a horror director, and Stranger Things is technically sort of a horror show.
Yeah, like
What-
horror mystery.
Yeah, what did we think about how scary it was, or did we think that the frights and the ghouls were delivered in a effective manner?
Yo, those rats.
Oh God! Oh
Oh,
no!
jeez.
Yeah.
When it was like the pan of all of them just like seizing out, like just like imploding. That
Great
was
noise.
like. Thank you. That was like the worst thing, and at that point, that's like episode 2 or like tail end of 1.
2 or 3 with the
Yeah.
old lady.
Oh, mistress.
Oh, when she started eating the
Yo!
fertilizer, I
And she's
freaked
just-
out. That was the grossest
Oh
thing.
yeah, I was genuinely afraid of like her. I did not like looking at her. When she was after she,
Season
you know,
2,
when
like,
yeah,
she when
yeah.
she
Yeah.
was. But this
Going
season was a
after
lot
this.
more upfront scary.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yes.
a lot more in your. It was a lot darker and it was a lot more.
Which I appreciated. I'm glad it was darker.
It feels like a
Yeah.
natural progression. The kids are getting older. The show's getting heavier. You know.
I know one day one of them's just gonna die, and then they're gonna deal with that for an entire season.
Yeah,
No,
it's-
season 4 is basically confirmed. So the question is, what is it gonna be about? I know this isn't.
We can't talk
Yeah,
about
it's.
because we
I
have
know.
Part
I know.
two,
I know.
fine.
Part 2,
Part
but I
2, though.
honestly. No, maybe that is a better safe conversation.
Yeah, okay, fine. We'll save that conversation. Make sure you yell at us so we remember to save it.
Yeah,
But
keep a tab of everything we promise for
Because
part 2.
I have a conspiracy about what 4 is
Ooh.
going to be about.
well, you guys have to watch
Yeah.
the
I
second
know,
episode.
I know.
We've
I've got some inklings, but I also have a. I don't know how hot of a take it is. It might be a pretty cold take about
Cold
the
take-
story.
Cold cuts. If it's not a hot take, would it be a cold?
A cool. Oh, we're
Yeah.
starting it.
Oh, wow.
Cold give.
No.
No,
Nah, cold cuts better.
James.
Cold receive.
Yes.
Boom. Done
Dang
it.
it. It felt so good at the beginning.
Lukewarm.
No.
Where were we?
So, what did you guys think? I feel like we should talk about the first 2 episodes because they were sort of before the plot started moving.
Yes.
What did you guys think about them?
Yay. Yes.
Let's get
I
into
like-
the cold hard
3
the
inches
nitty-gritty.
is a term that will haunt
Oh
me
my
forever.
Oh, cannot
because
relate.
now it is a rule in my household.
Yes.
And
We love that.
and I'm already trying to figure out how the trigonometry would work so that I can bypass that. But I think the first episode and the second episode were like just fun, and they made me like Stranger Things, and I was like, yes, this is the show that I wanted to see, and I'm glad they're handling the Starcourt Mall well, because I think that's such a cool locale.
It is really cool. That and the 4th of July fair that you see later. Those
That-
are I love that
yes.
kind of that scenery.
Because I don't get the nostalgia that other people get from it, which some people would think is a big part of the enjoyment of the show, but it's such a well-structured and well-shot and well-conceived idea that they sort of just, like, it flows so naturally, even if you don't care that the mall has an Orange Julius in it, which I saw and I was like, cool, you know?
Yeah,
Orange Julius went out like 2 years ago.
Dang, I didn't even know.
I never
Separate
been.
Orange
I
Julius.
never
Yes.
went.
Yeah.
Orange Julius slaps. If you haven't had an Orange Julius, go to the Midwest. I think they're still open.
Yeah,
News hasn't reached them yet.
News hasn't
Yeah.
reached them
They're
yet.
still using horses to carry their mail
Yes.
everywhere.
I loved.
Take
this-
that, Midwest viewers.
I don't think we have any. Leave a comment if you're from the Midwest.
You guys suck.
Yeah. I loved the summer aesthetic. It's something that we
Yes.
hadn't seen
Yes,
before.
It's so good.
The other
in the
seasons
summer.
were going for like a more kind of washed out color palette. But I loved how vibrant everything was. Especially, you see a lot of that in the first few episodes, like when Elle and Max are at the mall and things like that.
Oh, that was the best.
That
I
was
loved
really
that.
cool. I loved the moments like that from the first 2 episodes, but something about it, I liked the Elle and Max moments, and
Yeah.
as much as I hated watching it, I did like the sort of the boys arguing and like the scene with Will tearing down Castle Byers.
That was so powerful to me.
Yeah. That was, and I'm surprised they didn't go back to that.
Well, yeah, because Will is the character whose childhood has been the thing that he's trying to cling on to and get back, because that's what the Upside Down stole from him,
Yeah,
is
he
that
missed- yeah.
innocence. So to see that he's ripping it down himself, I was like, geez, and then like the acting that a Noah Schnapp does in that scene is fantastic. Is that in the first 4 episodes?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, then
Yeah,
yes, I can keep
it's-
talking about it.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, I would say that I loved the first 2 episodes. Like, I feel like they did a good job of kind of like picking up where they left off on the last season. And they did like a good amount of like balancing, like, oh, like this is what their normal life is looking like, but there's always something underneath the surface that's not quite right. And like you kind of get that, like, even when like the characters don't necessarily know that something's up. Like when they have the side plot with all the stuff that's going on with Billy and his visions, but then you flash back to the kids and like they're like making out, or they're going to the mall, or they're having like relationship problems. And so I just found like that they did that really well. And I do agree with James that like the first 2 episodes, like they weren't, there was something a little like up with them that kind of reminded me of season 2, and I think it was just like the drama aspect of it. It was very drama
It was
heavy.
a lot more human. And I liked that because Stranger Things is kind of about blending like human emotion with the supernatural adventure, and when you take out the supernatural adventure, I don't know why, but the human emotion wasn't doing it so much for me. Like, I don't Mike and Hopper, like the scenes with Hopper and Mike and Elle, I don't know why I didn't like them, but they just, those I couldn't get behind. And the whole plot with Nancy and Jonathan and the news station, I just had no investment in that. I don't know why. Of all the subplots they go through in this show, that was the one that I was like, I kind of got a little bit more disinterested when they would cut back to that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hated the news thing. I loved the Elle and Mike one. I thought that was so funny.
I think that also just comes a little bit from our own personal situation.
Yeah, but like I thought those were some of the funniest moments, like the 3 inches.
Yeah.
So great. And I did think Hopper was like a little psychotic.
Yeah,
And
I didn't love him.
I think it comes from the fact that his daughter died, right? So he's sort of seeing the progression of what would have happened.
Oh.
And so that's Eleven growing up and dating Mike is sort of bringing back all that trauma of, like, I'm gonna lose her again.
Oh.
So I think that's why he's going so psychotic.
I never even thought of that.
And I think viewing it through that lens makes those scenes a lot more enjoyable. But they should have emphasized it more.
It certainly,
Exactly.
yeah, it makes it make a lot more sense, and it's a lot more meaningful when you think about it like that. Yeah, but just like the first time I was watching it, I was like, I don't like seeing Hopper act like a crazy man, and I don't like seeing Mike be a douche to Hopper. Like, that just wasn't doing it for me.
I feel like it's a thing Mike would do, though. Like,
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard plays the same character in every movie that he's in, and that's, like, the snarky, funny one.
See, in season 1, it wasn't so much like that, though.
That he was more lovey-dovey.
Season 1, and I feel like season 1 Mike and season 2 and 3 Mark are completely different characters.
That's true.
And I like season 1 Mike a lot more, I'm gonna be real.
Well, it might just be an interesting progression on how, like, stereotypical the progression through childhood is. I mean, because we think as like, sort of season 1 Mike, that's a young child, right? So pretty, like, innocent and, like, world's nice, and he's trying to be nice, right? And he's standing up for people. But then Mike's, I think, getting to his rebellious phase, where he's starting to come into his own, but he's confused about the world. And you can clearly see that with his relationship with Eleven, where he doesn't really necessarily know how to handle it too well.
Yeah.
And things where he has to let his emotions out, he doesn't do necessarily very well. Like the way he dances around the word love. Oh no, that's second part. God, the way we're splitting this up really makes
It's
me...
hard, but there's
Yeah.
just so much. I think there's definitely enough content in this season to warrant 2 episodes.
For
It's just,
sure.
It's just annoying dancing around, you know.
So we'll get to the end of the 11 Mike thing next episode, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they handled that relationship well. And
Yeah.
I think 11 saying, I dump your ass is one of the funniest moments in the show as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you guys think about, Stranger Things is kind of infamous, I guess, for, at least in my mind, when I think of Stranger Things, I think of the whole writing technique of, like, meanwhile back at the ranch. Like having an A plot and a B plot to cut back and forth between. For me, when I think of Stranger Things, I think of meanwhile back at the ranch, Taken to 11. Taken to 11! Oh, I'm on a roll! They have so many subplots going on, and I want to know how you guys think they handled it. Like, do you think they were all solid? Do you think they paced it well? I feel like, Hallie, that's something you'd have a good insight on.
I enjoyed it so much. Like, usually when you have, like, A plot and B plot like that, it's kind of annoying because you're like, I want to see what's happening here and there. But they kind of coerced evenly. Like, it was breathable, is kind of what, you know? Like, you weren't drawn into, like, 2 major conflicts, and they kind of dance with each other, which I really enjoyed. Because you would have, you know, an intense Russian drama going on with all of them, but then you would go back to see some minute and innocent conflict with the other kids.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like, balanced like that, so it was really enjoyable.
I think that definitely worked in especially mainly in these first 4 episodes. I think, like you were saying, them balancing the more intense Russian stuff with the banal Hawkins life. I thought they did that really well in these first 4 episodes. My subplot gripe doesn't really come in so much until second half. So yet another thing that I've brought up only to cut it off. But yeah, I think they did a pretty good job pacing everything overall.
For sure.
There were definitely some moments, and that's pretty much my problem with the second half, is that there were some moments where I really was like, I really would have gotten a lot more if you gave this one plot an extra 5 minutes. Like, sometimes it just felt like they were cutting too soon. Like, especially towards, like, the episodes, like, 4 through 6-ish mark. Because that's, like, rising action, but before all the plots come together.
Yeah, that's...
There is just so much going on, and it got to the point with me where I was like, if I'm gonna, like, just getting these little 3-minute scenes of the 9 different scenarios we have going on, it just got to the point where I was like, man, I just want to see one of these get fleshed out, you know, before we cut. I started to get a little frustrated towards the end of this first half, but especially in, like, the first 3 episodes, I thought it was really good. Aside from the boring news report story that I didn't care about.
I just don't think that Jonathan and Nancy have that great of chemistry together.
Yeah, Jonathan didn't do much this season, like, at all.
Poor Jonathan.
I think it's because he doesn't have good abs, and that's the main problem, is I care about the boys, the hot men in the show that are attractive, and Jonathan's not attractive.
Charlie Shallow.
Charlie says his name. Didn't he get like arrested?
Yeah, that's why they had to.
For like having like possessing cocaine or something.
Did
Yeah,
Why?
Go ahead.
He was in Europe, I believe, and he got held on a possession charge. I think it was either cocaine or heroin, and that's why they pushed back filming so much, because he was like in Europe in prison.
Oh my gosh, he was detained.
Yeah, he was detained for like ever.
Yeah. See, I've never liked Jonathan. Season 1, I was Team Steve. Hard Team Steve. I didn't like Jonathan. He was kind of creepy, and
because
he was a creep, and they never resolved that. He never apologized, did he?
No, wait, I forget. She does find out though.
Oh, she for sure finds out, and she's still with him. I don't know.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, you were. What?
I've never loved Jonathan. The only times that I really kind of feel for Jonathan is when we're reminded that he's Will's older brother.
Yeah.
They kind of forget that, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, the one scene I care about with Jonathan was back in season 1 when they're listening to the music together.
Should I stay or should I go?
That was the best. And you're right, they definitely did forget that he's Will's brother, and that's sort of his driving thing, is that he's this very protective guy. And you don't really see that with Nancy that much. Like, he's sort of protective, but he never does anything crazy to help her. Like, Hospital is second half, right? I can't talk about that.
It's like borderline.
I'm talking about the hospital for a brief moment. Hospital, because it illustrates my point, but in the hospital episode where the monster starts attacking Jonathan and Nancy, there's this moment where they kill the monster, and then it goes out into the hallway, and then Jonathan and Nancy are on opposite sides of the hallway, and the monster's in between them. And then the monster starts going for Nancy, and Jonathan's like, "Nancy, no!" And then doesn't do anything from there.
Yeah, it takes him a while to start
really
chasing
accurate.
after him.
And I feel like the Jonathan that we know would be way more protective of people and would try and do something there or be brave in some regard. But they save all the brave moments for Mike.
All the older siblings in this show really... In season 1, they all had that protective older sibling thing going on, right? Although Nancy and Jonathan had their own monster hunting plot, Jonathan was still deeply involved with Will, and Nancy was less so, but she was still involved with Mike, right? Like, she was like, "Oh, you in 11?" And, like, they were kind of tight at the end of season 1. But in season 3, it just felt like that whole side of their characters was left behind so that Nancy and Jonathan could continue to do nothing. Aside from, the hospital and stuff, that was cool. But in the first 4 episodes, they don't do much aside from introduce the monster again. Right? Aside from let us know that there's a monster again. I just wish that Nancy and Jonathan had a little bit more interplay with their siblings.
Also, really quick note, the actress that plays Nancy and the actor that plays Jonathan are actually dating.
Oh,
really?
Huh.
So, pretty funny that we didn't feel like there was a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Sorry about that,
well,
Charlie Heaton.
There's chemistry between them for sure, but not between them and anyone else. I think that's my problem.
Yeah, like, I feel like the scenes where it's just them, like, you get a lot, but when you add more than one factor into their, like, relationship, that's when it starts going a little bit flat.
Okay. How do we feel about Russian Terminator?
Yes.
Yo.
Yes.
You
I
liked
love
him?
him.
Okay.
He was scary.
So great.
There's a point about him that I will talk about next time. I'm adding that to the list.
That we will all forget.
That we will all forget inevitably. No, it gets me so mad that I'm definitely going to remember it. But he was really... I thought he was cool in this first half. He kind of acts as our human antagonist. But I wasn't sure how to sort of, like, place him into my understanding of the story as a whole. Like, he kind of... He almost felt a little bit extraneous.
Yeah,
like,
why is he there? That's a good point,
yeah,
like to protect
he's here
everything.
because we need a tangible Russian for them to fight. That's sort of what it felt like to me. And at some points, I guess it feels like he kind of overstays his welcome. Like, he's definitely the Terminator.
Yeah, he's very, like... He's a cartoon. And I'm wondering why they did that with him necessarily.
Yeah, he was cool, but he just felt a little out of place to me.
I think it's because they couldn't characterize him enough in the time they had for each episode.
Does he have a name?
Gregory. I
Oh,
only
yes,
found
that's
that out because subtitles. They never say it, but they said it during subtitles.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Gregory. I think he's intimidating. I'm a little curious as to how he has superhuman strength. And also, I think it's funny that Hopper can beat... No, can't say that. I think it's funny that... I don't know. Him and Hopper have this weird dynamic, which is sort of interesting.
Yeah.
They're like enemies, but I don't know.
Oh, for all you...
It's like U.S. versus Russia.
Yeah,
like
it's
a
the Cold
boxing
War.
match.
This
every
is
time
the
they
Cold
come
War.
Together.
And it's really cool that they brought in the whole Russia subplot in this season, because that was a big thing in season 1. They were like, oh, like, what are we going to do if people find out about Elle? Like, the Russians are going to get a hold of her. Like, it's always had this backdrop of the Cold War. Not the Cold War, but, like, the Red Scare, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're finally bringing that to the forefront.
Which we know about, because we took AP Euro.
Oh, yeah.
And
AP
all
Euro.
aced the exam.
Yeah.
Woo.
Little
For
self-gloating.
anyone that cares.
Give us a like for that. Subscribe.
We survived.
I guess it's probably important to point out that one reason that we're only talking about the first 4 episodes this season, and another reason we're dancing so carefully around talking about the second half, is that some of us haven't finished the last episode of
Hallie.
the season.
You are
Hallie,
holding me out here.
Hallie, Casey.
But I'm closer
You're
than
close.
she
You're closer
is.
than she is.
Wow.
But I just wanted to
I
because
personally feel attacked.
I could
I
see
feel unwelcome.
I could see that it's like, well, even if we're just talking about episodes 1 through 4, you can still reflect on the series as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not yet. It'll
Yeah.
all in time.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
If you want us to go more into themes, you'll find that probably in the second half.
This
of
feels
it.
a little
Wrap it
bit
all
more
up.
like
A brief overview.
Nerdy opinions about the show.
You
and
know,
what we
I feel
liked
like-
about it.
I like the more casualness.
I
honestly.
do.
This is
This
nice.
is nice.
If you also like the more casualness, let us know down in the comment section.
If you feel like we're being if you feel like we're spending too much time describing the plot, please go dislike Aladdin.
Yes, give us another view on that. We're trying to get to 200. We're nearly there.
Yeah, click the bell if you want us to delete Aladdin off of our channel. We'll redeem ourselves with some other Disney live action.
Lion
King,
King.
Mulan. Mulan looks
Mulan.
cool.
When's that coming out? March.
You like that Hydro Flask? March 2020. I
Heck
believe.
yeah. Ooh.
Looks really nice.
Let's keep the band together until then.
If we
We
can
will
survive,
try.
maybe we'll get up to double digits and maybe we can break 30 subs. I don't know how.
We had 30 and then we lost one.
Whose mother?
And they unsubscribed on the day of the Spider-Man. Like, as soon as the Spider-Man video came out.
They're just like, no.
We know who you are. You know,
No,
you know who
because
you are.
they heard James's argument and they're like, you know what? I'm
Yeah,
done.
I'm hoping we can put that behind us and remain
Never.
good friends.
never.
He's funny.
Leave a
Anyways.
comment. Who won?
Make James feel better.
No, there was a comment that was almost giving a little bit more, almost clearing up calling out one argument against this Sam Raimi one. But this isn't a Spider-Man episode. This isn't a
Yeah, I
Spider-Man
keep forgetting we're
follow-up.
doing Stranger Things. Yeah, so what have we not touched on in the first couple episodes?
How did you guys feel about Billy?
Oh, I love him.
oh.
I'm so glad they're giving him more character
Looks great.
stuff. Love, what a man.
Damn it, Charlie.
Also, I'm sorry. I hate that Billy was genuinely going to go on a date with Mike's mom.
that was great!
It
Yeah,
was,
it was great.
no. I hate that because like more like
Oh,
I love it. I
morally
love
you
it, but it's
dislike it.
disgusting. He was legitimately going to go on a date with Mike's mom.
He was ready to teach Mike's mom the breaststroke. and
That's crazy.
No, they were gonna go.
They had a hotel.
They were going to
Motel.
go straight to the
Motel.
Motel.
Oh yeah, I don't
6.
know.
They
I don't know
were-
why I said date. Yeah.
They have a pool over there. That's why.
Yo,
He was going to teach her
was-
swimming lessons.
Dude,
No,
on the
that's-
pretty much it.
Yeah.
There's like he's just gonna learn that
Yeah.
Billy's his new dad.
Oh my gosh, that's the season 4 is dealing with stepdad
Yes.
Billy. So that would be thematically appropriate for Billy's character because he too has an abusive.
Oh
The cycle
my
continues.
gosh.
Stop.
And then just
Yes, please go give love to pretty much it. They're such great. They're hilarious.
Yeah, yell at them to come on our show.
They're better.
Please do.
They're if you're gonna listen to one movie channel, listen to pretty much it. Honestly, they're
Yeah,
God.
just
Yeah,
leave
not
here,
us.
Not us.
and
Please.
us. And
Yeah.
us. Please, come on, James.
yeah. I'll give us a shred of credit.
shred of
We're
credit.
okay. But oh my gosh, Casey's dying.
Again, we
Someone,
might have...
someone give her the Heimlich.
Oh, God, she's dead.
Oh, my, she's passed away.
Someone bring out the tombstone
She's
again.
passed away.
It's fine. I was.
Yeah, we're looking for another host again.
Again, auditions are back open.
Oh,
We've only lost 2 other hosts.
So,
Yeah,
season
it's
1, Stranger Things has been really cool about doing good musical sequences, and I know season 1 had the whole Should I Stay or Should I Go, and Heroes, and they played a bunch of other cool old songs, and had lots of nice musical sequences. Season 2 did the same thing, good use of songs.
Season 3 of the makeout scenes.
Season 3...
By
Yeah, I
the
was
way,
gonna
killer
say-
playlist, Mike. Like, might need to steal that real quick.
I was gonna
but-
say, yeah. Are there any like music choice moments that stick out to you guys? Because I can't remember much from this first half, honestly.
oh no! I was gonna say the mall scene where,
Oh yeah, Material Girl.
yeah.
That was great.
that was okay.
Yes,
There we
when
go.
they're in the gap.
I was just yeah. I'm a sucker for musical sequences like that, and I just wanted to know if I missed anything. Those are my favorite scenes. There's a really nice, real 5-star. I'm gonna talk about my favorite trope ever next time. It's my favorite trope in it. It never. Ooh, it gets me going.
This is the most excited we've ever
Really-
seen James. I want to
really
watch the next
butters
episode
his
because
biscuit.
I will tell you
Butters
all
his
about my
biscuits.
favorite
he
movie.
toasts his buns.
It butters my biscuits. It fries my rice. It scrambles my eggs. It does it for me.
It does it for you. Oh God.
It just makes me feel so emotionally full. I can't.
He's currently undressing.
I can't do it, guys.
We're very uncomfortable.
Oh
today.
man.
Somebody said help.
I think the only movie. Oh,
911.
I'm so excited for the next episode. It's gonna be.
Let's just record it right now.
It's
Let's
just the fun of this.
2-hour Socratic cinema. Let's do it. I'm
Who's
down.
down? Who's down? Part 2 coming soon.
I peaked the mic there. I'm sorry, future me, who has to edit this. My fault.
I think my favorite part of the whole season is watching with subtitles on and counting with my dad the amount of times ominous synth. or when the it would always say ominous synth.
Really?
For all my deaf listeners, as soon as they see ominous synth, they know.
Oh no, James.
What was it? There was also with the big slime monsters. The subtitles there was like some like squelching.
Yeah,
it would
like,
just
oh,
it would be like vicious squelching.
And I was like, yo.
I think the subtitle people are having a little bit too much fun.
Yes, those subs.
Oh man,
Vicious squelching. That should be the name of your band, James. Vicious squelching.
Ominous synth. Oh man,
That's not a bad idea.
Stranger Things. What a show.
What a show.
It's so
gem.
good. And the costuming.
Oh my God, we didn't
yeah.
even touch on the costuming. Fantastic job they did.
Elle's style this season was
Oh,
like, oh my God.
yeah,
I
it's
would
so
wear-
good.
I was
Her-
jealous of her.
Yeah,
I
like
was jealous.
not like I mean she was wearing overalls, but like the suspender look,
Ooh.
That was
it
good.
was good. I'd wear. When you're,
I like the giant shirt she had with all of the shapes on it.
Yeah, I like that one. When are they gonna give Will a haircut?
Oh my.
Never. That's
He's
a perfect
so-
haircut. What are you
No.
talking about?
It's
man.
bad because he's such like he's like objectively handsome, but because you put like this bowl.
Yeah, he's a sex god, and the bowl makes it
No.
look better.
No.
Oh, man.
Who said that?
I didn't.
Yes.
You guys hear something?
I didn't.
What was I gonna say? What's your name? Susie.
Susie.
We haven't gotten there yet.
But she was in episode 1. The idea of Susie is
The
Oh,
idea
yeah.
of Susie
Oh,
is an
yes.
episode.
I like that. It sort of characterizes
It's like-
Dustin a little bit more.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry,
I'm
Hallie.
so glad
Thank you,
I'm
Hallie, for
very
not-
Susie doesn't come back.
Yes.
Hallie.
Thank you so much
She-
for not watching episode 8.
She
Hallie.
actually
Hey.
dies. Did you know that?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Spoiler
the-
Salt Lake
alert.
City. Salt Lake City
We're
just
just-
gets bombed.
We're just. Oh God.
Does she live in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, because she lives in Utah because she's Mormon.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's like the huge plot thing. It's
I
like,
love-
we can't be together because she's Mormon and I'm not.
I loved that. That scene was really charming. It makes Dustin. You get more insight into Dustin's character, and I also liked the teasing going back and forth about whether she actually exists or not. That was, I think, an A1 like kids being kids, nice happy scene.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that.
That's what I enjoyed about the first couple episodes. It says that happy
Yeah.
Go lucky.
I just wanted more of that and less of all of the adults.
Vicious squelch.
Of all of the adults.
Less of all of the grown-ups. Except grown-ups includes older teens. Except for Robin.
You really liked Robin.
Robin was
Robin was the
my
best.
favorite character. I'm like, I don't know why, but just like her dynamic with Steve and Dustin was great. She was funny. The translating the Russian code thing
That was great.
was such a fun little subplot foray. That I thought that was one of my favorite parts about this first half was translating the Russian code. I thought that was so fun, and
How does that work, by the way? I'm so infinitely curious about...
they had a Russian alphabet.
Why'd
and
they have to get the Russian alphabet, though?
If it was all
If it's all audio.
audio.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so they made it really complicated. So they had the alphabet, but when Robin comes in, when they first like figure it out, like she's like, oh, you don't realize that Russia like uses a completely different alphabet than we do, and so that's like one of the things. So basically, they're trying to figure out how the words were spelled phonetically and then go into the translate book.
Oh.
And they're
I
like,
see.
that actually doesn't work because the alphabet's completely different. And so
Yeah,
that's why.
and she was smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was just like a good addition to the team.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, she's useful. I think that's the thing they always miss out on with some of the new additions is that they're not the most useful people. Or, like, they don't make good use of their characters.
yeah, like in season 2, Max didn't add much to the party.
No,
yeah,
not at all.
jealousy.
She can skateboard. She's cool.
Yeah, she's a zoomer.
And then we
man.
see her
She's
not be good at
zoom.
skateboarding earlier.
I know, she's
That's
just like-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say-
I was just gonna say yeah.
Oh.
That's what he does.
I was gonna say that Robin is also definitely my favorite, even though Nancy was pretty, as boring as that plot was, she was pretty badass.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna leave it at pretty.
Oh.
I was like, she was cute.
That's pretty much. But back to Robin, I feel like with any other character, like her, like just knowing how to speak Russian would have been pretty like ex machina. But I feel like they did a really good job of fitting that into her. Like, oh, I'm a quirky band geek. At James.
Rise up.
And like I know like
Rise
4 different languages. And I feel like they did a good job of like they do a good job of filling up like little plot holes in their characters.
She was like just convenient enough for it to be believable, yet
Yeah.
still move the
Well,
story forward.
yeah, she did the hard work, and then that's what got her to the thing. So it's very rewarding to see that pay off, where she gets that logical conclusion of, oh, Silver Cat. Oh, the ice cream parlor, whatever it was, shoe store. Oh,
Scoops.
Scoop. Yeah, and then the clock. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that was
yes.
really cool.
Look at her
And just her
being
whole
smart.
interplay with Steve was really nice too.
I thought they were gonna date at the end of it.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we'll talk about what happened to make that not the case in the second episode.
Yeah, I'm just convinced that Steve will never get a girlfriend
Honestly.
at this point. It's pretty tough. But
He's basically Dustin's dad, so he doesn't like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
He's a
that they. I
single
like that
parent.
they.
He's
Yeah,
like
he's a
7
single
kids.
parent.
I'm glad they acknowledged that he's pretty much the father to these kids. Robin's like, how many kids are you friends with? I like that. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think that's just about all we can talk about.
Yeah.
With part 1.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah, it wasn't the most
Intellectual
Organized.
you
one
know,
of our episodes,
but I feel like we got some good conversation out of it.
it was fun, interesting,
Dynamic.
stimulating, and scrumptious. And
Scrumdiddlyumptious, yeah.
Scrumdiddlyumptious. Jeez, Ned Flanders.
Is it time for the obligatory
Self-promotion for 2
yeah,
minutes?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell.
I love it when you do it.
Comment on us. Tell us who your favorite Stranger Things boy is. Who's the cutest boy in Stranger Things?
Daphne
Who's the
Montgomery.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us who you think in the comments.
Do the same thing for the Socratic Cinema members. Who's the hottest boy in the group?
You've only heard our voices. Who's
Judge from that.
who has the most soft?
Matt Pat or the other guy?
Who has the most warm and mellow voice of the
Silky.
gang?
Oh,
Silky.
did you see how he made his voice go
Yeah.
deeper for that? He's
Yeah,
trying to
there
win
you
you
go.
over.
Buttery. follow us on Instagram for updates.
And Twitter. We have a Twitter now.
We have a Twitter now. What's our Twitter handle?
At Cinema Socratic. It switched the name backwards for some reason. I was able to put in the username as Socratic Cinema, and then the handle is at Cinema Socratic. I'm fairly sure.
So go follow us at Cinema Socratic.
Look in the description for the specific usernames, but yeah.
For fun updates on our social media.
BTS, that means behind the scenes for
Not
everyone
the
that thought.
band.
Yeah, not the band. We had people think that we were doing an episode on BTS.
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
Unless they have a movie,
Colby.
then maybe.
Yeah, thank you guys all so much for making it to the end here. We really appreciate those of you who support our podcast by listening to it. You tell your friends about it, spread the word.
And leave any criticism, constructive
criticism. Yeah, always welcome.
We need it.
Or just tell us we suck. I mean, I'll take any comment at this point.
You know?
I'm getting desperate here.
It's a struggle. But yeah, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, we're looking to move on to new platforms. I know I said it before.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll put out some polls, like on our Instagram, about what platforms you guys use to listen to podcasts, so that we're able to get our voice out better on a wider variety of platforms. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you real soon in Stranger Things Season 3, Part 2. Electric Boogaloo. The finale.
Perfect.
The season finale of Socratic Cinema.
There we go.
Oh, is it really?
It is. Season 1 is over.
Season 1 we've arbitrarily decided Season 1 is over just right now.
Yeah, we'll see you
That's
after
it.
the season break, and then we'll come back. There's no season break. Content will flow as normal. But yeah.
Thank you
Adios.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for listening. We've been Socratic Cinema.
Sayonara.
Adios.